Elevation Station, 132 Waldoboro Road in Jefferson, Maine. We have premium medicinal cannabis and accessories to get you on track. Elevation Station, 132 Waldoboro Road in Jefferson, Maine. All aboard! Oxford Auto Salvage, located on 117 number 6 Road, Oxford, Maine. Automobile parts, accessories, and supplies are available for purchase. For more information, contact 207-539-9673.
Well, hello. My name is Bruce Elder from the Maine Vintage Race Car Association, and on behalf of MVRCA and our sponsors, Elevation Station and the Oxford Auto Salvage, welcome to our latest edition of the Racers Roundtable. I'd like to particularly take a moment and thank Lincoln County Television, who certainly, and Larry Seidlinger and his team for helping to make this program possible. Process here is to bring in some of the legends of Maine auto racing and beyond Maine, and we certainly have some heavy hitters here for this program today. I think this is the 6th one.
It is.
Pleased to have the guy who was, I'm filling in for Ken Minot, by the way, and his co-host is certainly a legend in racing. He's a member of the Maine Motorsports Hall of Fame and the New England Racers Hall of Fame, and that's Pete Silver. And Pete, it's always good to sit down and talk racing with you.
Well, listen, I'm thrilled you're here.
Well, thank you.
I like doing it with Ken, but this will be a fun change.
Well,
you know a lot about these three guys, and that's going to help save me.
Well,
we got three of the best ever, incredible stats, all in the Hall of Fame.
Yep, absolutely.
And now we have all three at our mercy.
Hey. Seems like I was at the mic when they were racing most of the time. That was kind of a regular for me, I guess. And we still are friends, so that's a good thing. I guess I didn't hurt him too bad. Let's take a moment and introduce our three guests today. Mike Johnson, they're all multi-time champions, and I think it's safe to say all their home track was Beech Ridge Motor Speedway, and we'll talk a lot about specifics. Bobby Babb, second generation, now has the third generation with his son racing. Mike Mayetta Sr., another multi-time champion, so certainly great to have you fellas here, and we said it's nice to be able to record some history this way, and thankful again to Lincoln County TV for helping make this possible.
Thank you guys for inviting us.
Thank you for being here.
And supporting the sport.
Well, you guys are doing that right now and you're helping us a lot, so thank you. We usually start, and we'll start with Mike. I already know the answer for Bob. What got you in racing? What made you want to do it?
Well, I worked at a garage. My father and uncle owned the garage, so that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
I mean, I went into the garage working when I was, I can't remember, like when I was 13 or 14, maybe a little bit older, but that's how it all started.
Yeah,
and I had a friend that worked with us that raced at Oxford in the mini
Is he still a friend?
Yeah, I think. So anyway, that's how I got into it, really.
Yeah, that was probably an easy transition, garage and a friend with a race car.
Yeah.
And Bobby, just like with my family, it was family tradition.
I was born into it.
Yeah, probably couldn't wait to do it from the time nobody wanted you to do it because you were too young.
I think Dad always wanted me to do it. And as soon as we were old enough, that's what we started doing.
You certainly carried the family name and the torch. Mike, how about you?
I had parents that were deaf against it. And that's why I started so late, you know, I don't even remember how old I was.
You were well into your 20s
I
when you
was
got
up there,
going.
yeah. And a good friend, George Libby.
Yeah.
We all know.
Nice guy.
He really is, I thought, at the time. But he's the one, he always knew I was interested in it. We used to have some guys that worked for us that I'd go to the races with every weekend because my parents didn't go, so I had to go with them. And Georgie was going to buy a new car off Ricky Harrison. I'll never forget it. And he had an old Chevelle out behind his uncle's house. And he goes, you go down and get that Chevelle going. Had a motor and everything in it. You know, I'd never
Yeah.
worked on a race car, seen a race car, or nothing up close. So I went and got it, and we got it going. We had to hide it from my parents.
Well,
know,
you've had
so-
to hide a lot of things according
Yeah,
to your earlier
yeah, I
stories.
did, yeah. And that's how I got started. And it was if it wasn't for Georgie, I wouldn't never have done it.
Well, you certainly got the hang of it.
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah.
I didn't start out too good, but ended up all right.
So listen, you're not off the hook totally here. We've got you down here, a lot of information. With everything that you've done, I'll get to that later, but what got you started?
My folks were against it also, so I can relate in that, Mike. And I, of course, grew up with construction, first a farm, and then my dad did sand and gravel and whatnot. So I had trucks and operated equipment and tractors and all early, and I just loved driving anything. It wasn't safe to leave any vehicle around the barn or wherever because I'd be driving it down through the field. So sophomore year in high school, Larry and Bobby Tangway had been to Beach Ridge, and we were friends, lived in the neighborhood, and asked me if I'd ever been to Beach Ridge. And I said no, and Larry said, gee, Bruce, he said, I think you'd like it. That's all it took.
Yeah.
That was 1960. And boy, I was one of those that just, one time, and what was happening at the same time, Bob Bushley was working at Wyndham Electric, and my father was having him work on some of his equipment. Bob was a mechanic and welder and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it happened right together almost, that I met Bob Bushley, and then, of course, he was racing. And so, yeah, I was hooked, and I guess until they sold the place, I was there in one capacity or another pretty much since then.
You talk about getting hooked. The deal was with Georgie, you get the car ready, because he was going to go for a championship. This was his big thing. He wanted to go for a championship. So he's buying a championship car that Ricky won the championship with. He said, you get this car ready. The only stipulation, if I wreck, because I'm going to be running for points, I'm going to have to borrow your car. You're going to have to take a week off.
Well, that was a nice deal to start with.
Yeah, well, after
I didn't get that kind of deal.
After I got it all going, I didn't want to sit out a week. You know what I mean?
of
I
course.
said, you know what I mean? Almost, it never did, but I mean,
Yeah.
I said, I don't want him to drive this. I want to drive it. You get hooked, and I never thought I'd be that way.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that it's an addiction. And the addiction really takes off if you've ever had any success, which everybody sitting at this table has been fortunate enough to experience. Once you've got to victory lane, you're done.
It was.
I mean, there's worse addictions out there, especially in this world right
I'll
now.
never
but-
forget it. The first time I went out there and raced, I didn't know. I had no idea, none. I really didn't know what the flags all meant. You know what I mean? And I'm out there and I'm going.
That sounds
do they
safe.
just send a kid out in left field when they want him to play baseball? I said, I don't know what I'm supposed to even be doing here. Because then when the race started, I thought I was flying. Yeah. And then the leader's passing me.
Yeah.
I'm
I bet
getting
we all
laughed.
experienced
But
that. a
I
little
thought
bit.
I was doing real good, but.
Well, you learn by other people that's already been there for quite a while too.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
kind of watch all that
That's
what
right.
they're doing.
That's right.
Well, you guys are around a lot of knowledge, all of you. The names you mentioned,
Hey,
you.
our
your
era was
family.
the best era you could, and yours
Yeah.
too. Those were the best two eras
Right.
that I think they'll ever be in any sport. That was fantastic. Family,
That's
parents
right.
there. It was so.
We were all talking about eras earlier, and my father talked about it, and I thought he was crazy, but now I know what he meant. It's
Yeah.
something you said
Yeah.
earlier. We raced in a great era.
Sure
I don't
did.
think racing's great. We like racing. We get discouraged with some of it now, but we were there at the right time.
Yes, we were.
think so.
yeah.
The right kind of cars
And everything
and,
you
Exactly.
got, you earned.
Yeah.
You really did. You earned it. It wasn't.
So let's jump around here a little bit. Mike, you and I talked about this a little while ago. You started in '74, and it was still mind-boggling to me. Your first year, Daredevil Division, you won the championship in 10 races.
Lucky.
And before I saw that and realized how that happened, I was looking at Mike Maeda's deal on the Beach Ridge and the modified deal.
That's probably some misprints.
It said 18 documented starts with 8 feature wins. And I'm saying, man, that's like a duck to water. Then I read about a guy that starts racing, and his first year wins 10 races and a championship. That's got some duck to water to it, too.
Sure does.
And then you moved. You said they changed the
They just
division
changed the name
name.
from Daredevils to Limited Sportsman.
So that was from
He thought I moved up a class. So
Oh.
I said, no. It's,
So that's from 75 to 77. And you only went on to
Would
win the
they have
75
75 cars every week?
number 60.
But
know.
you went on to win the 75 championship, the 76 championship, the 77 championship.
77, never won a race.
I did that one year.
So what, did you come back to that division to run a race in 81? Because it said you won a race there.
Bobby Reynolds
Yeah.
got suspended for a week.
Okay.
And Steve, can't come up with his name right now, had the car, and he come ask me if I'd race it. I was home sitting home doing nothing. I went racing then. So I said, I'll go down and race it. Thank goodness.
You must have got the rust off pretty quick.
That thing handled so good. Bobby had it going good anyway. But that thing, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I got that win. Could not believe it.
And you know that 4 championships in a row, only 3 people have done that in the history of Beech Ridge. Ralph Cusack, Dick Wolstenhume, and Mike Johnson.
Wow.
4 championships
I
in a
knew
row.
Ralph did. I went, vice versa.
Yeah, I think something we left out at the beginning of this conversation, this table, these 3 guys over here and yourself, there's over 20 championships. I mean, there's something about you guys, everybody's got to win 5 or 8 or 9 or something.
Not me.
No, but you still won one.
Boy, back then you was lucky to win one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, every year the car count goes down like you see it today. I mean, it's
But it's like I was saying earlier, I don't think you were here when this started. I'd raced against a lot of the people we'd had here, and they were kicking my butt while I was learning how to do it. And I only looked at their success from year to year to year. I didn't kind of put it as a whole. And then when Ken Lane and Steve Pellerin put these historical parts together, it's like, holy Christ, the amount of wins and championships. And we'll get to that. We'll keep going here. I'm going to jump to Bob, then get to you.
yeah.
So, Bobby, you started, it's kind of interesting to me. You started in 79?
The night I turned 16, yeah.
Okay. So 79, and you get your first feature win in 81. Your father runs third. That must have felt pretty good. Did you ever beat him and your Uncle George?
Oh,
George,
yeah.
your uncle? You beat
Yeah.
them both?
Yeah. Actually, that race, we had double features that night. There was a Canadian Classic, and the track was rougher than hell that night.
Is it on dirt?
It was on dirt.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Excuse me, a lot of your championships on dirt too?
First 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Great.
And I had dragged
Impressive.
a hole in the oil pan in the first feature.
Of course.
That's rough.
Yeah. And Kelvin Varney raised it up for me. And we went out in the second feature, and I mean, it was terrible, the track. And I came in the pit and went and get out of the car, and they said, "What's wrong?" I said, "That goddamn track's too rough." I said, "We're gonna break something." And great big guy, Dwight Libby, he was standing by the window, and he wouldn't let me out of the car. And they told me, "Go back out." And I said, "Okay, when I break a ball joint and drive this right in the wall, you guys are fixing it." And I went out and I drove my ass off. And Homer Drew was driving for Hank Snowman, and he was just about a straightaway ahead of me. And I drove just as hard as I could to catch him, and I almost got to him, but the check had come out, and well, Homer won it. And I went in the pit. Well, he had been in the pit. He was 4 laps down. I didn't even fucking know it. I won the race. They sent me back out front.
I interviewed Bobby for that win,
Yeah.
which meant a lot, obviously, having had him at school and
course.
everything. And I looked in this album that Bonnie Coughlin, I didn't even know she was doing this.
Yeah.
The 3 years that I was president of the MSSCRA, I was also doing trackside. And she had taken pictures and put a caption. And I should have brought that, but Bobby was a little bit younger, and I looked a little bit younger too. But that was something, you know. And I interviewed Mike. We'll get to that. His first feature win too. So I don't know where I was.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. You must have been part of all these guys' careers.
Yeah, I was announcing. I wasn't competing. I competed against Bob Sr. a little bit, but I didn't run late models any full season, several part seasons. But
Him and George are both ferocious competitors, man.
Yeah.
One more question before I move on. This kind of baffles me. Now, you're kind of just getting the hang of it, you win this race, and that's in 81. In 1983, you're on the Bush North Tour. Did somebody back up with a truckload of money and you didn't have anything to do? Or what?
No, we were actually going to build a car for some of the open races at Oxford,
Right.
the Getty races and
Sure.
so forth. And I went down to McCabe's one night, was going to buy a rear end off him. Well, the only rear end he had was in a car that he bought off Butch Lindley that he should have won the 250 with. Went down in the garage, looked at it, and I bought the whole car. And
Yeah.
bought a motor, and
How did you,
we went tour racing.
how did you like that?
It was fun. We just didn't know anything. Came from dirt to going to tracks
Yeah.
I've never seen before.
There was some competition back then.
Well, you
A
have
lot.
50 cars
Yeah,
every
so,
race,
yeah.
and
Yeah, that's the original NASCAR, the old NASCAR
Yes.
North Tour. You
Yes.
dabbled a little bit, you did
Yeah,
too.
a little bit,
yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's always tough, even later when we went and did the next round. But when you showed up then, you know, you had McCabe,
well,
you had Dion, you had both the Dragons.
yeah, it's Stub Fad and
Stubby,
Cabana. all
There
the
ain't
guys.
enough time
I
on the
ran-
show to list
I
everybody.
ran-
No, and everybody could win.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
ran Rookie of the Year that year against
you?
Randy LaJoy, and he had a $100,000 sponsorship from Snellman and a Cup crew chief.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
Oh yeah, Bob Johnson.
yeah, and we ran with them all year.
You won the pole at Claremont.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I kept looking at that. It was like when I was reading your deal and I didn't understand the change. So I said, "Who the hell just let me see wins the race and he's on the Bush North Tour?" I said, and I know that's not free.
No, we
So
we
Mike-
probably did more drinking than we did racing.
Listen, that was. I had Budweiser for a sponsor.
I
I
know.
can relate to it. Mike, you started right off in the sportsman deal, didn't you? Late model sportsman.
Should have, but I started
I
out
did.
with limited.
limited, yeah.
I got a little
Okay,
bit
I
of
got-
trouble.
Really? Well, tell me about it because I don't have that
I
here.
was just misunderstanding. I thought you had to drink to race. Honest to God.
Well, listen, the first guy I hung around with from the Ridge was Dick Walsenhume. So
Yeah.
I understand.
Wow. I mean, I really did because all the stories I heard, everybody was drinking and the fighting and this and that, and I'm going, well, maybe you got to drink to race. Honestly, I didn't know.
Would you go out and
Just
practice
like when
for-
I went out on the track, I said, I hope I'm going the right direction. I knew I was, but I was lost.
Yeah.
And I really did. I thought you had to drink to race. It was, I drank anyways. It didn't make me start drinking, but
Did me.
yeah.
I didn't drink when I started. 21 years old when I started. I didn't drink. Occasionally. I mean, not on a.
I did.
Then I got racing. Ralph would come by and say, "Close up the gate, will you, boys?"
Yeah.
Yeah, we earned that.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had to earn that. But I'll tell you, it was,
Didn't they used to have a? I got tossed out of Unity for something I probably didn't do.
I'm sure.
And
I'm sure.
I've seen some bad deals up there you were in.
so we went to Beach Ridge and to race on the dirt, or try to. And I remember across in the parking lot across the street after the races every weekend, had a big bonfire out there, and we'd go over there and do a little drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where you
it
guys
was
would go over there?
It was so much
That was
fun.
a pretty big deal. I mean, that old
I don't
fire
even-
used to get up there pretty high now
Over
and
by
then.
the old
I
type
can't
shack.
remember how many years I raced on dirt. I know Bobby Harrison, who was a real good friend of mine and helped me a lot, won the last one on dirt, and I won the first one
Yeah.
on
Asphalt.
asphalt.
80,
Really?
85 was
Yeah.
the last year on
Yep.
dirt, 86 the first year on pavement.
Yeah.
And that's
And
what
I don't remember when did I start racing? I don't even know.
It shows from 83 to.
So I raced on dirt for
I was,
2 years.
I just happened to have you.
I was in the grandstands when you started. Really? Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You're too young to race watching.
Yeah, I
it?
was.
Yeah, it started in 82 with a
He
limited
sta-
partial season and then went on
I
to
thought you
the
started
late
before
models.
that.
So you only ran a partial
Must have
season
gone
Yes.
according to this,
Yeah.
and I think it's right.
Yeah, it
And,
is. Yeah.
That first limited one, again, I was doing trackside. I might have been announcing too, but you did a bonsai move to win the thing, and we're pretty happy. I'll be there with the first win. So I'm going out to interview, and Roland Foster comes down over the stands, and he was quite agitated.
I remember that
and you,
now.
and you said to me, who's that guy? And I says,
I
"He's-"
didn't ask
says,
you like
"He's-
that."
He's the judge. And Mike says, oh. I said, well, let me interview him first. So He did. I don't know if you got a warning or not, but
Oh, probably.
but that was kind of a
I
funny
vaguely
stuff.
remember that. Yeah, he come down hooting and hollering. I
Yeah,
said, "Who-
he
who-"
was a judge there for years, and
He didn't
yeah.
like me.
but no, that was a funny incident. But I certainly remember it.
Did I get the win, or did they
You
take
got the
it?
win. Yeah,
Good.
yeah, yeah.
That's all that matters, I guess.
So we got you down here as far as from 83 to 2006, 236 documented starts with 49 wins. The thing that amazes me, and all you guys have done similar stuff, 96 top twos, 134 top threes, and 180 top fives. And then you come down here and the late model sportsman deal. Just by itself, you got 132 documented starts with 36 feature wins, 66 top twos, 92 top threes. This one kind of blows my mind, 121 top fives. Now, everyone here knows, every one of the three of you knows what it takes to win a championship because you won several of them. But that's part of it right there, and all three of you did that. So that takes a lot of work, and I'll ask all three of you this. I mean, what did you have for people working with you?
I had, well, we had a pretty big construction company at the
Right.
time, so I had a lot of guys from there that helped.
Just interested in it? Like to help you?
Yeah, well, got interested in it after I started racing, really. A lot of them had never been. And then I had some good people. I mean, when I finished, them top twos and top fives was behind these guys. You know what I mean? It was always like the same group, the same, just sometimes it would reverse stats and finishes.
Well, that's the question I was going to ask going down the road, but did you have a lot of people helping you? I mean, just a family deal?
Mostly friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, just high school friends,
Yeah,
cousins.
that's what mine was.
You know.
But I was lucky. I knew Bobby Harrison was a big boost
Yeah.
for me. You know, I mean, he really helped me a lot when I first, because I didn't know anything, And then got hooked up with Steve Roman, and that was a real good learning experience.
know
I
that
learned
name.
a lot with
Yeah.
him. You know what I mean? But I've won with these guys as crew chiefs. I've won with Steve Roman as crew chief.
Wow.
Kevin Colburn. I won Barry Meserve. I've won with about four different crew chiefs.
Wow, that's great.
So
You both won with Dick Fowler.
yes, yeah,
Championships.
yeah. Mike helped us. Yeah.
One other interesting thing while you're on, Mike, only 3 people have won 2 classes, championships in 2 classes at Beech Ridge.
Yeah, I got that down here.
Yeah, they're Dick Walston-Hume, Homer Drew, and Mike Mayetta Sr. So that's quite a distinction.
Yeah, 1990.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
2 in 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
won
different.
the late model and the modifieds.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you probably learned just from working with your father on his car.
Pretty much.
Probably
yeah.
got good knowledge there.
Yeah.
You were already learning the mechanics of
When I started, I only had a couple friends I knew, but I got a lot of direction from Dwight Shepard. Dwight
Yeah.
Shepard lived down the street from the
I've heard
garage.
that name a lot too.
He gave me a lot of good direction on how to set the car up and stuff.
Yeah.
The guy I worked with was what told me to get for a car. I asked him I'm going to go racing. What should I get? And he said, get a Chevelle, because everybody else is running Pontiac Bonnevilles and 98s and everything.
Heavier.
else.
Must have been a lot heavier
And he
than what
says
you were doing.
this car will
Yeah.
work good. Well, it sure did.
Yeah. Basics
And
in
then
the
on
end.
my 4th year, Dickie Fowler is how I get hooked up with him. He bought my car in '76 for him to race. He raced it 1 week, called me up and wanted to race the next week. And he'd been dabbling in it a little bit before that, but he decided that's what he'd rather been a car owner than a driver.
And he still is today.
Yep.
Everybody
He
that he
is.
raced with thought
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yep.
So how long did you stay with
As an
him?
owner.
Yeah.
Well, I stayed in just '77.
Yeah.
In '78, I went with Griffin for the year, and then Griffin went to NASCAR North, and 80 and '81, I raced probably 4 races or 5. I don't know what it was.
So
And
Bruce,
then-
that must have been when he hooked up with Rick Zelma.
I think it was Zemla.
Yeah,
Or was
Zemla.
it Timmons first?
Okay.
I think it was Timmons first. Timmons replaced me, I believe,
Yeah.
Bobby. And then I retired until they paved the track. And that's all it took. So I was not racing for what? really 78 till 86.
Yeah, Ken said that there was a gap there.
Yeah. I get it.
Did you quit as a champion too?
In 85.
Okay. Did the transition from dirt to asphalt, what did it do to you guys?
Made me happy.
Made me happy. Because
I hated it.
you did?
Really?
Yeah, I love the dirt.
You did? I didn't mind the dirt, but I'll tell you, we had to go out and get the track ready for all the
I know.
public.
I know.
You know, you go out there and you couldn't even go
oil.
anywhere. It was just
Yeah.
all oil. You know, we
Yeah.
got it all mixed in for them. Then we had a great night.
And I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because when I took on my Look Stupid tour to go to Beach Ridge,
Yeah.
it was the morning of the races that I got a registered letter telling me not to come back. And I said, well, I know Walsenhume, I'll just go to the Ridge. So I pulled in, bought $100 worth of mismatched tires.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to look stupid, you don't need to spend a lot of money
Right,
doing
exactly.
it. And I couldn't wait. Got to the racetrack and got them mounted, and I couldn't wait. Back to your point about the oil.
Yep.
Got those tires mounted, and there I am. I probably look like a pumpkin smiling coming out of the pits there. And Dickie, Walsenhume, everybody's just looking at me smiling, like shaking, you know. I really didn't know what they were smiling about. I think it was more of a laugh because they knew what was going to
Oh,
happen.
yeah.
When I got to
Yeah.
the end of the first straightaway, I think I stopped down around the South Portland
Yeah,
Mall
yeah.
and twirled.
Was the mall there then?
But it was just pure oil.
Yeah.
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 You come in and it's just dripping right
yeah.
off.
That's what I hated. At
Yeah.
night when you go up to work on the car after
Yeah.
working all day, you get under that car and
Yeah.
it was awful.
Boy, it kept the cost down though, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, dirt.
Run all year on 7
Yeah.
tires.
But
It really wasn't dirt.
Yeah.
I can remember sitting in the stands and seeing people pull up to the flagman and evidently get a chewing out and squeal the tires when they took off.
Oh, yeah.
It would squeal like
Yeah.
it was on hot top.
Yeah.
It was like soft asphalt, really, when it was
Yeah.
a good track,
Yeah,
and
right.
also you walk it, your
Yeah,
feet would
your
stick
feet would
to
stick
it.
right,
You
right.
know it was pretty good till it got rough. which
But I
would
mean,
get rough
I'm
by
thinking
features.
dirt. When people say dirt, I'm thinking Flemington. 'Cause I used to go there all the
yeah.
time. That stuff was dirt.
Exactly.
You know, this was.
Beach Ridge was more like soft asphalt almost. When
Yeah.
It was,
when it got right.
Yeah, I
well,
could-
yeah.
Then it would start getting rough.
Well, the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
tracks used water. They used oil out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that.
You could walk across Beach Ridge after the race and it'd almost pull your shoes off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember that? How sticky it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they used to wasn't there a gentleman there that was there forever that used to roll the track up?
They used to grade it every
Roll
week.
it, then roll it back out
Grade
and
it
do
every
something
single
every
week.
week?
Every week
Yeah,
they-
Ralph
and-
Cusack was one of them.
Yeah.
Every
Wow.
single
What
week.
was the guy's name that took care of it for him?
I know. I'm trying to think.
Buddy Sawyer did.
Yeah.
for a
Yeah,
while.
Buddy
yeah.
Sawyer. Yeah.
Buddy was doing it.
Yeah.
Because way back, Jim McConnell used to,
Yeah.
when I started there, Jim owned the track, was operating the track and maintaining it, running the grader and all that.
Yeah,
And
when I
then-
was a kid,
Yeah.
I used to go out there with the people that worked for my father. We'd always park way in the back of the parking lot. Don Kent would be the announcer, and
Yeah.
he was out in Yellow Submarine. I'll never forget it. That was the song he'd play when the people were coming in. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's back in the early '70s. You know that.
60s too. He was the announcer
Yeah.
when I first
Yeah.
went
Yeah.
to the track. Yeah,
Those old songs. They used to play the Tennessee Waltz in unity, for God's sake.
yeah.
Then you go,
One
to,
other
then you go
thing-
to Stafford. They got the Eye of the Tiger before every
Yeah.
feature. You know, it's come a long ways.
Go ahead.
You were on mic, and one other unique thing, and Bobby in this too. Beach Ridge has had 2 drivers of the decade.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And Mike Maeta was for the decade of the 90s, and Bobby Babb for the decade, the first 10 years of 2000 to 2009. So that was another, that said something about consistency and how repetitive you were in either winning or consistently running up in like the top 5 or so. And both of you, if you didn't win, you were obviously finishing strong, because some of you won without, you mentioned without winning a feature.
Yeah,
I had
I did
2
win.
championships with no
Yeah.
feature.
Other people have, same thing, have won.
You have to drive different when you're
Yeah.
racing for a championship,
Yeah.
really. And
It sucks, though.
I
yeah,
gave some
know,
good ones
it
away
does.
because of that. I was too stupid to do it. 2 races would have made a difference. You know,
Right.
you grow up, and some of it's from my father. You know, you saw daylight. It wasn't about points. It was
Right.
about winning. And
Right.
Yeah.
Daylight didn't always stay the
Well, that's like
know.
like that era before us. I think that's all they cared about was winning.
Yeah.
You know, winning was the big deal. And then, you know, winning a championship was a big deal. So
Well, if you win enough, you can get the championship.
I know, You're right. You're right. But you
That's
take
the
chances and you
thing.
wreck and you do make mistakes. And
And also, when you're racing for somebody else, you're thinking how they want
Right,
to race. They
exactly.
want you to race too,
Right.
especially for championships.
Yeah.
Dickie won a championship. So did I. I'm not saying I didn't, but he had all the money invested.
Right.
Yeah.
I kept the flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true.
I want to ask you about something. If you want to talk about it, a couple of things here. It said you won a race every year from. What did I have that here? 86 to something. It was about 19 of 20 seasons. You got hurt. Missed. That was probably the season you didn't win. I don't know anything about
I
that.
can't remember. Oh,
Head injury?
You had a,
yeah.
yeah. No,
I did have a head injury.
yeah, it was a race at Oxford.
It was this.
Broke your
This
elbow.
arm.
Yeah.
At Oxford?
Pipe came up through here and tore my arm all to hell.
A pipe.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. You and I went over the bank, and I don't know if I should say this or not, but the guy that started on the pole, and we was way in the back on this heat, and there was like 18 cars in the heat back then, you know, so I said, this isn't gonna be pretty, but, so we kind of just hung back, and he got spun out going in the first turn. Everybody's trying to go around him. Well, I'm trying not to put Mike over the bank and into the dirt. There was no sense. I mean, we were way back anyways, you know, they're gonna throw the yellow. And when I went, I was trying to let him have room up top without sending him down over the bank. And I kind of held it tight. Well, that car came back up across the track. And when he got hit and spun, it took the whole, I don't know how we got through the safety part of it, but the whole back of the car broke off. And the pipe came through my door and ripped through part of the roll cage and into my, just tore these two arms, these two bones. And then
Jesus.
the pipe actually hit me in the side. That's how close.
Did you even see the pipe coming? I mean,
No,
you probably saw
I-
the car coming, but
Yeah, but I didn't even know what happened.
must have thought you got shot or something.
It hurt so bad, and Steve Roman said, "You all right?" And I said, "I don't think so. I don't know what's the matter." I really didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it hurt so bad, and I didn't know what happened. And there was a guy there taking pictures. I know him, but I can't think of his name. Took pictures up to Oxford. Anyways, he come running up to the car because he saw blood coming out, which I didn't even know I was bleeding.
Wow.
And he asked me if I was all right. I said, no. I said, I don't know what's the matter, but
Yeah.
Was that early in the year?
I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Oh, no, because I had such a point lead at Beach Ridge, because I was in the hospital for like a week or 10 days,
Jesus.
and I couldn't race. But the last 3 weeks I couldn't race because of this. But I had enough point cushion that I won the championship anyways. That's what it was.
That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
Yeah,
Very
that
much
was,
so.
that was, if it hadn't been like that, I never would have won it. And then when I got out of the hospital, Tom Curley used to have that race for all the feature winners.
Yes.
It's a shootout like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the champion at Beach Ridge was invited into that race. And it was like a, I don't know, 20 lap,
Right. I remember
30 lap
Craven won that
race.
one year.
You win
Yeah.
$5,000 to win. That's all. And I begged and pleaded and cried and begged, and Ralph let me race that race with the cast on. And my doctor didn't want me racing, but I had to do it, you know.
Yes, you did.
And then
you get
Dave
it?
Dion got turned on the front stretch, come up across and whacked me, and I went out in the one turn. Well, they're all calling me to see if I'm all right. I only got one hand. I'm trying to steer the car, shift it. This hand's all, tied up. I'm trying to get on the radio. I can't. But I was fine. And, it didn't hurt a thing, but except my feelings. And then the doctors, a girl that worked at the doctor's office was in the grandstands, told the doctor,
Oh my word.
and I had to listen to that for the rest of my.
I bet.
But racing was over then, so it didn't matter. But that's what happens to people that race. I mean, it's an addiction, like you said, I didn't care nothing about this arm at the time.
The drive
Glad
to
I
win.
got it now.
Yeah.
The drive to win is just, especially if you know you can. I mean,
Yeah.
those wins don't happen. You might back into one now.
There's
and
a
then,
lot,
but-
there's
all-
way more bad times than there are good.
Yeah.
But all three of you were there because you had the confidence and knew you could win. I'm not trying to take anything away from anything else, but it wouldn't have happened. And then you go to Oxford and win races. I mean, all three of you guys moved around and did other things. What brought that on?
Got thrown on the beach ridge.
No, no, that was actually after I ran NASCAR North.
Well, you might.
was?
That must have helped you because you had 26 starts in, you won 9 of them.
Yeah.
That's 30% of the. Jesus,
No,
a lot of people would like to have that
We
record.
just
What year was that?
It's 85 to 88.
That was when you
it's,
had Hills Abbey
Yeah.
for sponsor.
Yeah.
Did they have anything to do with it?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, we were hooked up with the right
Yeah,
people
yeah.
there, and they wanted to race up there, so I did.
That worked out well for you.
Yeah, it did.
It's like it took you a while to get your legs under you, and then you really got to hauling the
Yeah.
mail.
When I started, it was my father, Walsnium, Homer. I mean,
Just
there
think
was
about
some
it.
tough
yes,
goddamn
yes.
guys, and
You ain't kidding.
I don't think people understand what you just said, and all of you have been through it. The people that are already there when you
Jeff
get there.
Stevens,
Yeah.
I
well, Walsnium, the first race I ran that I really ran real good in, we were under yellow and going down the straightaway, riding along, and I look over at Dick. And my father had told me, don't pay attention to that son of a gun. Well, he's hanging on the wheel down here, and I look over, and he takes this one, and he goes just like that at me. I thought he was going to run right straight into me. He never moved, but
But you did.
Oh, yeah.
they were tough.
You know.
They were tough, boy. I can
Yeah.
remember Jeff Stevens getting mad at me for something.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you, and I was always told, don't let them push you around.
Yeah.
You let them push you around, you're done.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I had to,
yeah,
it was tough. It was hard to do.
Too bad to have to start there, though, huh?
yeah.
They taught us a lot.
Oh, yeah.
They really did.
They were good guys.
Yes,
so.
excellent.
Fun to race with.
But you guys, we raced, in the 70s, we raced every Saturday night. The Ridge had Sunday races back then, and we were there every Sunday that we could be. And I mean, Homer was still driving Bushley's Flintstone wagon and the J2 Camaro, and Dick McCabe was still in the 6-cylinder car.
Yeah.
I mean, Cusack was still racing, the Libbies were still racing. I think Willie Elliott was there by then.
Yeah.
It was a tough field.
It was like
really was.
It
like my-
was every week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But we all had to go there, and
Bear Reynolds, them guys. I raced with all them guys too.
you don't appreciate the beatings they're giving you at the time, for
Yeah.
sure. But when it's like now with the dust settled, how fortunate were you to learn from those guys?
They taught us a lot. They
You know,
really did.
I
When,
wouldn't
when
change
we
it.
started, myself and Jimmy
no.
Burns and a couple other guys, you had Meserve Nason, Dana Graves,
Yeah.
Norris Olette, Fuzzy Holden. I mean, by the time you get to where we were, 10th would be like a win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And such as with the group you guys mess with, they didn't leave many scraps around for you to feed on to
I
build your
raced,
confidence at all.
Ricky Craven and
Yeah.
Ralph Nason and Gardner Levitt and
Junior Hanley.
oh
Yeah.
my God,
When they come.
I've tried this before and it's impossible to do. I've tried to sit down in a
Yeah.
quiet room and write down everybody that I raced with and met. I mean, Jamie, there's names that you just forget. You just forget them. I mean, Randy LaJoy, I know
Oh, yeah.
he was a real good friend of
Yeah,
yours.
still
I
is.
remember watching him crash at Daytona. I
Yeah,
thought he
I
was
was there.
dead.
I happen to have one of those that you're talking about, so this fits with what you're saying. This was 86 year, highlighted by pavement at Beach Ridge. American Canadian Tour, the Thompson Machine 150. Perhaps one of Mike's, this was in your induction into the Hall of Fame. Memorable races of the season, battled Robbie Crouch down to the wire and came in second. Holding off Dale Shaw, Kelly Moore, Dick McCabe, a host of others, including Jimmy Burns, Kenny Lund, Ralph Nason, Bob Randall, Ricky Craven, Mike Rowe, Bob Bilodeau, Dave Dion, Jeff Stevens, Dave Wilcox. I'm sure you were in it. I mean,
yeah.
so you're not lying.
Joey
I mean,
the Kid Carafa.
people didn't
they-
realize how tough, like at Oxford and Beach Ridge,
Yeah.
some of those big races were. You had some of the best in New England.
Yeah.
Not just Maine.
And they were all wonderful people. They
Yeah.
really were. They was.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Getty Open. A lot of people watching this are probably too young to remember
Yeah.
those things.
They were
You guys are
unbelievable.
old
I was,
enough.
I
My
was in the
God.
grandstands watching them.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Bob
Yeah.
Tibbetts was
Those
one of the
things are
toughest
crazy.
guys.
Homer was good at it.
Yeah.
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 They used to mix the modifieds when they started.
Yeah.
I mean, Evans would be here, Jerry Cook,
Yeah.
Cleary.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Richie Evans was one of my best
Oh, yeah.
friends, and he was a very big help to me, getting me going.
So you're modified. Billy built it. Did Billy
Yeah,
Nasowitz?
right after Richie died, they
Yeah.
built it. That was the last car they built in
Yeah.
Rome, New York.
Yeah.
with Richie's paint colors, and they took Richie's stencils for his numbers and reversed them. That's why I was number 16 instead of 61.
Yeah, we were at Martinsville when he got killed.
I was going to ask you, I'm glad you spoke about that, Mike. I remember that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Quite a connection with Richie Evans.
Yeah, so, and he was a super nice guy. Everybody that I raced with was, everybody. I really can't say a bad word about, I really don't think I can.
Well, the thing I'd have to say, all of you guys were smooth. You didn't win a lot of races by spinning people out.
But we raced with good people.
That's
I
right.
mean, we didn't have people when they see you coming, they're going to knock you out or they're going to pull out in front of you. Once in a while, but
that
it
goes
was
with the territory.
there was respect.
So did you guys, now you two did, but did you guys race each other a lot?
All the time.
We did.
Yeah,
all
three.
I know you started
On
before.
pavement,
You
on
started.
pavement.
You started
Yeah.
earlier
Yes.
than
Yeah.
these guys
Right.
did. So you.
On pavement, all
On
three of us
pavement.
raced together.
When
It
he
must have worked out.
retired-
You all act like you
Because
like
when he
each
got
other.
into it, I was. When you got into it, I was out of it. What was you?
No, you were.
You started in '81.
I started in
79.
79.
Oh, you did.
When he retired, I
On the-
drove his
on
car.
pavement, you
Really?
were
For 2
driving-
years.
You
They
were
won 2
driving for Dickie
championships
when I
in his
came back to
old
Beach
car.
Ridge.
Yeah, that was
And so
with
Mike was the crew chief?
With Dick
Mike
Fowler,
worked
wasn't
on the car. Well, Ricky was, I
See,
guess.
so that makes me have more championships than him.
That's
Well, I had
right.
his two to mine
That's right.
in my car.
And he's indebted to you, really.
I didn't even pay him for
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No.
you guys ran into, later on, you guys raced together
we
for a
did.
lot of
Every week.
championships.
And Barry,
Well,
his brother,
Yeah,
Barry.
well, I had won 2 championships, and the third one, me and Mike were tied for the point lead going into the last feature.
You ran 1 and 2, probably.
We ran 3rd and 4th. I could have moved you the last lap, but I never
We
did.
didn't do that.
We didn't do that to each
Honestly,
other.
I understand.
They used to sponsor my kids' go-karts.
He
and,
was really
you
the
know,
roughest one I raced with. No, late in the years, but that's racing. I mean, I never had to deal with that before because everybody was kind of, we always.
That's what they all told me. But all I can say is I've only ever got one warning. So how can
No,
I say
I
that?
know that. No, but I
One
know
morning.
your
Yeah.
car owner
They did
didn't
away
like
with
to buy
judges.
brakes. Because remember when I get into the car, I had to buy the I had to have him buy the brakes. Right. And I'm going, Mike, I felt bad for getting mad at him for running into me, but I know why he did that.
It was the
Couldn't
brakes, not Mike. It was the
I
lack
didn't-
of brakes.
Hey, I never used a brake.
No, he didn't. I can vouch for that.
You didn't have to have good brakes at Beach. I did, at least when I
But
raced.
we get along.
get
I mean,
along
we
fine.
raced every week, and
Yeah.
we once in a while you'd have a little spat, but
Right. But we got over it.
yeah,
by the
it
next
was
week.
it was fun, you know.
This is one thing we've tried to keep constant on this show, to have 3 people, just what we're talking about, had part of their careers overlap each other's or at the same time and raced against each
You
other.
might have a hard time 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say you're right. So Mike, on the Bush Grand National deal, you said you did that with Billy?
Yeah.
You went to Catamount, Thunder Road,
Yeah.
St. Air, Airborne. Did you have any luck at all?
Not really. Nope.
Picked some fairly tough places.
Yeah. That's tough racing there.
Yeah.
You ain't
When you
kidding.
race at Beach Ridge for
Yeah.
5-6 years and get really used to it, and you go to them places, it's like a foreign planet.
Yeah.
Well, the car's different too.
Right.
The whole thing is
Completely
different. The
different.
car's different,
Yeah.
the tires are different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won best looking car. That was something. Twice, I think.
The bottom line is you win. I tell people that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Some people didn't go and have all the luck they wanted, but they still win.
Yeah.
There's a lot to that. Sitting back
Like
now.
I told you, you have a lot of bad times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good times just help.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So you ran some ACT races. Who was that for?
Dickie, right?
Well, just at Beach Ridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a piece on
Well,
that.
okay, you can have it. I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
This is on Mike. In addition to the championships, this was from the Hall of Fame program. Mike won his share of big races, Beach Ridge and Oxford Challenge Series in '89, Stego Auto Parts 200 ACT race, and the ACT Triple Crown in '92, and with a Saturday night car, I think one of those was, and the Coke 100, which was always a big race that wasn't just Beach Ridge guys, but people like Mike Rowe and others would come Dick McCabe would come back for that and so on, even though he was mostly racing
He
tour
did
races.
very well
Yep.
with the
Yep,
big
those
races.
big races.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you won the 200-lap ACT race and led most of the race, didn't you?
Most of it.
150 laps, 156.
200 laps.
It was a
Oh,
200.
I don't know how many.
It was a 200-lap race, but I
I
thought
didn't get any beer out of it. All them laps.
well, you needed my car over, I'll tell you. So, but didn't you lead most of that race?
I did.
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
But he was looking for that six-pack of laps.
That was a tough race, but we had a car.
You must have had
We
a
had a car.
I mean,
That was
listen,
92.
Yeah,
We
so they
a
had some
car.
good people racing ACT then.
we
Yes.
They always did, but I
Yes,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
We just had an exceptional car, brand new car, Stevie Levitt. I'm
yeah.
telling you.
Levitt,
You
unreal.
could have the stagger out 3/4 of an inch, you never know the difference. Really, because you're so much faster than everybody else still.
Yeah.
I'd come in and Robbie said, how'd it go? I said, well, I beat him, didn't I?
Yeah.
We're way up on stagger, this and that. But that car was just
Yeah,
extraordinary.
Levitt was hot then. I mean, he just.
And then they ruined the car. Next year they made us go, see, we run 3 inches. Next year they made us go to ACT rules.
4
Had to go to
inches.
4 inches.
Yeah,
Ruined the car. Should have been back to Stevie's and had him, but he's gone. That was his last car he built
Yeah.
before he moved south.
Yeah, you either needed to change the mountain brackets or change the clip on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, but that's a big win.
And we finished second in the one before, the 150, I think it was, the same year.
That was a good year for you
I got
because
pushed out of the way on the last half a lap by Eddie McDonald. And wasn't my crew mad? I was still glad I got second.
yeah. Well, I was here. You had a good year. That was a '92 Beach Ridge Point Champion deal for you. Also, you won 7 races that year. That's pretty damn good. Mike, you some of the stuff highlights that Bruce was talking about. 96 or 86 Triple Crown Series champion, late model sportsman lap leader, most improved driver.
Is that when we inverted the lineups at triple? No. Remember you and I both started on the front row and we both spun? Coming to take the green, honest to God, this is how competitive him and I were.
Working on a buddy plan.
The high point car goes to the front, starts on the pole. So I used to start last every week. Then we started, he was
That was
second point.
That was the triple crown.
No, but whatever
That was,
race it was.
they called it an open race or something.
I don't know, but anyways, they inverted the lineup. Him and I was on the front row. You talk about competitive. We both come out on that start, and both of us went right around in front of the whole field.
Didn't touch each other?
We
I don't remember.
never even touched one another. Just the cars, both of them spun around, and the whole pack.
How did you
went by.
manage that?
It was the start was the green flag of that race. I'll never forget that as long
I
as
don't
I
remember
live.
it. I don't.
Both of us. We was trying so hard to beat one another. We come out of there and we both get on it, and the cars just came right around both of us. I don't know how we got missed.
Well, you guys all, 93 you got driver of the year, 99 the driver of the decade.
I got a vest too that'll fit you now. A blazer.
Listen, things are pretty expensive for clothes. I'll take it.
Yeah, they gave me that blazer once. It fit then too.
Yeah.
Don't now.
Did you drive the supers? Any supers or you just,
No, my son drives the Supers.
so did he
You
just,
never tried it?
No.
Really?
I know I talked with you about this in Gray. I don't remember, obviously I don't remember,
Yeah.
that wasn't that long ago. So he just decided, watching his family race and going to these races and watching those cars, that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah, he started at Beach Ridge and
In what?
started in the Whiz Kids,
Yeah.
and then the
About, not
no,
like
that,
what you,
that was
4 cylinders like?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just they're
Yeah.
only
Chrysler.
6, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah, it's 6 to 13, 14-year-old kids, and I think he was 12 or 13, and he had won quite a few of them. So the next year, he had to move up. He wasn't old enough, but Andy got a waiver through the
Was that a
insurance
rule
company.
if you won so many races? I know some tracks used to do that,
A
but
couple of the other kids that had won were old enough to move up, and they figured Brad would win pretty much every race. So he had him move up. We moved him up. He won in that. The next year we moved him into the sports series. He won in that, and then he started driving my car, the Pro Stock, and
Yeah.
He won every year in that. He won the championship in 2012, and then
It's pretty good.
then we started running. My son-in-law runs big block supers, and we got interested in those. And
That's quite a jump.
You ain't kidding.
he did that.
Does pretty well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does real well. on
he-
them.
Mike, you raced with your son too. How'd that go? I saw some stuff here. He kind of whipped you a few times.
Yeah, he's tough. He was tough on me.
Yeah.
He wasn't quite so tough
I was
on
tough on
everybody
him
else.
too.
Yeah,
'Cause-
yeah.
The second championship I won, Mikey he was leading the points. And Jesus, I can't handle this. I hope you take the point lead. Well, I took the point lead with 2 to go. And I ended up beating him for the championship that year. Well, they always gave you the Winston helmets and all that stuff. Opening day next year, every year I won a championship, I'd have Mikey come down. Hey, come here, come look at this. He'd come down, what do you want? Like,
Try
that could have been yours.
Yeah, no, he was, Mikey, he wasn't in as good equipment as I was, but he had good equipment. And he had a good attitude. You know.
Does he race anymore at all?
No.
How old is he?
48.
Yeah.
No, 48?
Look at me.
I think he's 48.
What does that mean? Him
That's
looking
a
at
head
you?
injury I got in the back strip.
You have any kids, any family that races besides you?
Nope. Well, I had cousins that
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like 4 cousins in the late models at the same time. Me and 3 others.
In the same division,
Same
racing.
division.
How'd that work at Thanksgiving?
Well, I never got invited.
That's right. Mike said you were the roughest one in the
sent
group.
breaks.
Yeah.
Didn't have any.
I saw, looking back through things, Bobby, that you and your dad tied for points one year, and in the Beach Ridge Banquet program, you both pitched it. I think you finished that year 5th or something.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty unusual.
Yeah.
To have people tie, that doesn't, but a father-son.
Yeah.
And George, my uncle, he was the same position at Oxford that year.
Isn't that something? Yeah. So you raced against your father and your uncle, George,
My brother, my cousin,
and your brother, Barry.
my son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mikey's
daughter
working
did
for
what
that, helping that Brandon Barker now.
Brandon's a good shoe. He's a
He
winning
really
boy.
is, yeah. He's, I don't know him that well, but getting
I
to know
had
him.
his father in high school.
Oh, no kidding.
Robbie Barker, yeah.
They're nice people.
Yeah, and his mother's a daughter of Sonny DiRenzo, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of racing connections with this next generation. And
Yeah, Mikey's having a good time helping them.
yeah.
I should go more, but I don't know what it is. I just can't. I'll probably go to Lee Friday, and then I think they're going to Bangor or something. I might go to them races.
The Garden State?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're coming to Bangor Saturday.
Yeah.
When I got home, I just didn't go to the races, but the past series came to Bangor twice. It was $15 to get in, the best deal in town, and you go up there and Stan and Stuber and Dana Graves, and I mean, Chris, it was like a unity reunion.
Yeah.
Then they didn't go the last 2 or 3 years, but that group's coming.
Oh, good. Yeah, I see a lot of people when I go. I'm glad I go once I do. It's just getting that push to go.
That's the part.
Yeah.
Right
Because I
there.
hated it every Saturday of my life. I devoted to Beach Ridge every single Saturday. And I used to say, I'll be so happy when this is over, but I wasn't.
Good point.
I missed it.
I got done in 2006. I was 6 years old. I had a mega sponsor for the following year. It was all contract stuff, but it would even, I'm back to Hickory on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
It's full of cup teams with their kids. And it's so, they want that, you have a show car 1,000 miles away, and I said,
I know.
I'm back to doing it because I love it.
Yeah.
And I was still doing all right because everything was paid for.
Yeah.
And I got done. I sent a letter of resignation, but 2 years later,
I know.
I wish I'd have gone until I drew my
I know.
last breath.
Yeah.
It just,
I think I
it's
still
in
could
you.
have done it
It's your
before the
DNA.
pandemic. I really do.
What's that?
But I think I still could have raced and done well. I'm not saying win, but done well
Yeah.
before the pandemic. Then I had a little bit of trouble with my heart and got a pacemaker. I still thought I could do it, but today I don't. I
Things
can't
change
see
quick,
as
yeah.
good.
Just remember that you thought.
I know, that's what I mean. But I can always live with them thoughts, you know.
They're more,
Makes you
they're more
happy.
affordable too.
That's right.
Well, listen, let's take a minute here and beat up on this one. What do you think?
Yeah.
So 8th generation elder in Wyndham. What's that take? Like 300 years?
It goes back to the 1700s. I say you won't find a family much more deeply rooted in Wyndham than the elders. Yeah.
When Ken Lane was going through your information, and Steve Pellerin was gracious enough to send him a lot too, he called me and he said, listen, before I tell you anything, they need to build a statue of Bruce Elder and put it downtown in Wyndham.
We agree.
Depends on who you talk to.
And then he says, when he was 12 years old, he could have played on a college basketball team. He was so tall. So you, basketball star, Wyndham High School.
I don't know about that. I
Gorham
played.
State Teachers College, Wyndham Public Schools, teacher basketball coach, guidance counselor, director of corporate education. Is that when the corporate education, was
They
that
were
the
in
deal?
school
the work-
half a day, like
Yeah.
both Bobby and Barry, and like it's there for 4 classes. Then they went to a job that was supposed to be in line with what they wanted to do, and we had a lot of great success stories. And some of them are still there now, where and they're now like pushing 60.
Yeah.
Well, it's,
That makes me feel
Yeah,
old.
but
It
kids
does.
can't do that today.
No.
You know what I mean? It's
But it
crazy.
makes so much sense.
Yes.
Applied learning.
Of course it does.
yeah.
I spent some time at Central Maine Technical College also with a tech prep program, which was encouraging more kids to go that route. And now more are, and I think it's because of the free tuition right now. I have a grandson doing that this next
I
year.
can remember some of what you were talking about. I knew families whose kids went to school and they actually went to work somewhere else for part of the day, but the state had a program where they actually got paid.
Oh, the kids got paid.
Yeah, paid for their,
Yep.
nice program.
Yep.
They get paid to stay home now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal.
Well, listen, there's a lot of incredible stuff there for an individual. And do you think me sitting next to you, any of that will rub off on me? Or is it too late?
You may hope not. I don't know. No.
So,
I think you had some pretty good
I think
luck.
he's hoping it doesn't go the other way.
Yeah.
so you 77 to 82, Maine MSS CRA Board of Directors. You were on that too. You
Yeah.
did it. Vice President, President, Voice of Beach Ridge. Is that the announcer?
Yeah. Yeah. I did trackside for a while.
Okay, well, I'm going to get to that. Then you got the Wins Memorial Blazer Award. What is that?
I guess people who were there long enough and achieved a few things. I think all of these gentlemen, I think, probably were Blazer. And your
I never
dad-
got one.
I never did.
They stopped.
Yeah, your dad,
My dad
did.
has one.
Yeah,
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 I didn't
they-
get one either.
yeah. It came to a point they didn't do it anymore, but yeah, that was quite an honor. Terry Wilkinson presented me mine, and yeah, that was special.
He was a real nice guy.
Good
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, he's a special guy.
You're the only original board member of the Maine Motorsports Hall of Fame. How many years has that been?
Since the beginning. Yeah, whatever that was, 2002?
wasn't it? I think it was 2002. I think.
Yeah, the
Okay.
MSSCRA started. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm talking about the Maine Motorsports Hall of Fame. You're the only original board member still there.
Started
the Motorsports Hall of
started in 04.
04. Okay.
I didn't realize that. I'd check that. I'd check
Stay
his-
tuned for more information. So you were,
Time for me to retire, in other words.
so you were on that's, what is that, Mid-State Stock Car Racing Association?
Main State.
Main State, that's right, I knew that.
I was the reason they had that.
Why?
I was the one that they had to go to the meetings and talk about it.
That
I
must
just
make-
thought I'd throw that
No,
in
that's
there.
important. I mean, everybody
Let
has to have a
everybody
reason to
figure
do-
that out.
So
sure
it says
they
you
can.
were the president from 92. That mean you were the president when it closed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the last year they had it. And
You still trying to collect dues from people?
no, Ralph
Time's up.
decided to go with Curly.
Yeah.
Changed everything over.
Louis was on that, right?
Yeah.
My brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess our time's up.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
You all represent the sport great.
Hey, next time, if we do have a next time, we ought to get together and go Moody's or something for lunch. How about?
Yeah, that sounds
That
good.
might be the
Don't invite
motivate-
me up for that reason.
No, now listen.
Because I'll even
listen,
buy
no,
dessert
you're
if I
missing
don't
it.
have to
It has
come
to be
here
the
and do
reason,
this
just like you were the reason for that club. You got to have a reason.
Well, folks, we hope you've enjoyed this issue of Vintage Racers Roundtable. Again, a production of the Maine Vintage Race Car Association and the Lincoln County TV. Certainly, they're instrumental in making this happen. Anyone who would want to support this, any business people perhaps want to help sponsor this, there is a cost involved, but we're certainly here to try to recognize the great sport of auto racing, and Maine Vintage Association is trying to preserve the history, and we certainly would invite any who would like to come on board and help, particularly younger generations than myself. Got to keep this thing going, but we appreciate you watching and hope you'll continue to watch the series.
Also, we'd like to thank Vanessa Jordan, Steve Pellerin, Ken Lane, and all three of you guys. You did a great job. It was fun. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for the invitation.
Nice to
Had a
do
good
it.
time.
Yep.
Elevation Station, 132 Waldoboro Road in Jefferson, Maine. We have premium medicinal cannabis and accessories to get you on track. Elevation Station, 132 Waldoboro Road in Jefferson, Maine. All aboard! Oxford Auto Salvage, located on 117 No. 6 Road, Oxford, Maine. Automobile parts, accessories, and supplies are available for purchase. For more information, contact 207-539-9673.